Roger Goodell. This fool right here must think he's trying to get some brownie points with black people. It ain't gonna work. Not with how you've been acting and how you've treated people over the last 4 years, especially when it comes to Colin Kaepernick. So now Roger Goodell, who of course you know is the commissioner of the NFL, and he needs to hurry up and get out of that position. Not that I would really care, because I can't remember the last time I watched an NFL game. He says that the NFL was wrong for not listening earlier and encourages all to peacefully protest. Imagine what respect level people probably would have had for you, Roger Goodell, had you listened earlier. And by earlier, we mean 4 years ago. It's too late at this point. Like, no one takes you seriously. But I'm going to go ahead and read this article. It says, on Thursday night, a handful of big NFL players, including Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes, demanded the NFL explicitly condemn racism and the systemic oppression of black people in America, as well as admit the league was wrong to silence peacefully protesting players in years past. And they're basically talking about Colin Kaepernick and a few others, but mainly him. Less than 24 hours later, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell has done just that, addressing all of the players' concerns in a video statement while encouraging players to peacefully protest injustice. It has been a difficult time for our country, in particular black people in our country, Goodell said. First, my condolences to the families of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and all the other families who have endured police brutality. Now, you know what's so funny? He says all of that, but he could have said something when Colin Kaepernick was taking all those slings and arrows 4 years ago, when that's exactly what he was peacefully protesting. But see, here's the thing. They love to tell people when to and when not to peacefully protest. He probably could have did it any other time and they still would have had a problem with it. See, they don't mind peaceful protesting. They just don't like it when it happens on their time, or something that they feel was going to affect their bottom line, which is their money. Now look at how everything is going right now. Peaceful people have done the peaceful thing, and now that's what they're begging for. But people are waking up and realizing that peaceful doesn't always work. Sometimes you have to make a little bit of noise, and in some cases you need to make a lot of noise. And that's exactly where we are right now. Goodell closed by pledging his own support to those fighting injustice. He said, I personally protest with you and want to be a part of a much needed change in this country. Without black players, there would be no National Football League. You know, that's a very backhanded comment that he made. I mean, we know that when it comes to the NFL and NBA, that the majority of the players are black. That's a given. But coming out of his mouth, it sounds completely different. It's almost as if by him saying that he's trying to get brownie points. Roger Goodell, you are being Captain Obvious. We know that the majority of the league, the NFL, is made up of black people, of black players. It's unfortunate, though, that when it comes to this same NFL that has a lot of black players, that they don't have that many black coaches, nor do they have any black owners. That's another thing that people have been getting on Roger Goodell about over the years. Why doesn't the NFL have that many black coaches and they have like 0 black NFL team owners? I remember when, who was it? Diddy and somebody else were trying to buy the Carolina Panthers, and they basically gave them hell on earth for doing so, and they ended up giving it to a white guy. So Roger Goodell, you can take that. You can go somewhere with that. He says, and the protests around the country are emblematic of the centuries of silence, inequality, and oppression of black players, coaches, fans, and staff. We are listening, and I am listening, and I will be reaching out to players who have raised their voices and others on how we can improve and go forward for a better and more united NFL family. Goodell's remarks comes hours after longtime NFL veteran Adrian Peterson said he and other players would definitely be kneeling during the national anthem in 2020 to protest ongoing racial injustice. They marked the league's strongest public support of protests and the issues behind them since former San Francisco 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick began kneeling in 2016. Well, here's the thing, Adrian Peterson. Why didn't y'all do that with Colin Kaepernick back in 2016 when he was doing it? Y'all left this man out to dry by himself with the exception of Eric Reed and maybe a couple of others who was with him. But no, y'all caved in. Y'all got scared. Y'all did the whole, well, we won't kneel, but we'll lock arms. Like, what was that supposed to do? And that, even then, that didn't last long. See, now I got to get off on Roger Goodell a little bit and talk about the black NFL players, because, you know, over here, we equal opportunity. I cover it all. Y'all had the opportunity, the perfect window of opportunity to stand in solidarity with Colin Kaepernick, a man who had to take so much crap from so many people in the league, out of the league, fans, coaches, the 45. Here's a man who many people will say, oh, we can't take him seriously because he's quote unquote biracial. He has a white mother and a black father and was raised in the suburbs with a white family. What would he know about racism? How could he possibly know? He had to deal with all kind of antics from that slob of that pig Jason Whitlock week after week and so many others because of what he did. Now y'all want to stand in solidarity with him after it's been like, after his point has been long proven 4 years later, and after he can't even get a job back in the NFL, and they've already marked him down as retired, but he never sent no documents in. It's pointless at this point. Is no point. And with everything that's going on with this virus, who's going to really care? Notice they really haven't talked about the virus in mass the last week or so, ever since the George Floyd thing happened. Nobody will care what you do, Adrian Peterson, and to all the other players that want to kneel. It's no point in doing it now. The hype has left the building. It's no point. Continue to stand there with your hand over your heart like you did 4 years ago, when you should have did it, what you plan on doing now with Colin Kaepernick back then. If y'all had did what you want to do now back then, it would have made a much bigger impact, and this thing could have been heavily addressed then. But no, y'all left him out there by himself, with the exception of a few that was with him to the end, because you were scared because of what 45 said. He said that they're a bunch of sons of bitches. He said worse because of what Roger Goodell did. You know, Roger Goodell, he was all up 45's you know what. But it was at that point that people saw y'all for who you were. Now here, like I said, you have a guy who has an interethnic background, who was acting more quote unquote pro-black than those with two black parents. Somebody out there help me make it make sense. That's why I couldn't really be off of the train when people say, oh, I can't trust people who are biracial and everything like that. To be honest, Colin Kaepernick is probably one of the few people that kept me from completely jumping off of the rails. Because believe me, it's been plenty that have made me want to just like leave them alone altogether because of the flip-floppy stuff they do. But the truth be told, is many people who have two black parents who are worse. I don't have to go down the list, but y'all know exactly who I'm thinking of or who I'm talking about. So Adrian Peterson, y'all can keep that. You, Roger Goodell, y'all can take whatever it is that y'all plan on doing, because at this point it's nothing but lip service. You had your chance to really make an impact, but you left this guy out to dry, and he ended up losing his job. Millions of dollars a year doing what he loved. Luckily for him, he did have some support and still does. And his point has been proven. But it's over now. It's long gone. The moment is pretty much has passed. You had your chance, but you slept on it. But hey, it is what it is. You know, 2/3 shall perish. That's all I have to say.